have lost track of my cat. And like when you can't find a toddler and they're quiet, my cat, when she's missing and quiet, is dangerous. Hey besties, and welcome back to Sustainability Sundays, where every Sunday I give you tips on how to make small changes that won't impact your life or cost you much money, but make you live a bit more sustainably. After all, sustainability can feel a bit overwhelming, right? When you think about going sustainable, you think you're going to have to throw out everything you own and replace it with all new things that are the sustainable options. That's not true. Today, I'm giving you a bare minimum sustainability plan for beginners. If you have not made many transitions into a more sustainable lifestyle, this is exactly what you're looking for. This is how to make sustainable swaps and start living more sustainably without making any major changes. Step 1. Everything begins with a mindset shift. Shifting your mindset is completely free, so we're gonna start with that. But honestly, I feel like it's the most important part of living more sustainably. I don't mean shifting your mindset in a, oh, I need to do everything in a sustainable manner. I mean shifting your mindset from an all or nothing perfectionism mindset to a anything is better than nothing mindset. Perfection isn't the goal here. Progress is. The entire point of this series is to show you that tiny changes add up and make a big difference. And shifting your mindset to acknowledge that is the first step. If you go into sustainability with an all or nothing mindset, the first little slip up, you'll be like, oh, well, that was all for nothing. And you'll go right back to how you lived before. You don't need to do that. Progress, not perfection. Step 2, bare minimum habits that don't require any spending. I'm not gonna tell you don't order Uber Eats or DoorDash if you wanna order Uber Eats or DoorDash. What I will tell you is if you're at home and you're ordering them, say no to getting single-use cutlery because you already have it at home. If you're getting takeout, you don't need to get plastic knives and plastic forks if you are going home with it. If you get a coffee, do you need a straw in your coffee or can you drink it without a straw? It's easy to say no to these things that you don't need that just cause more waste. If you do need it, I'm not gonna say don't get it. If you're getting takeout and you're gonna go to the park to eat and you didn't grab utensils, okay, grab the plastic utensils. But don't get them if you're just gonna go home when you have silverware. I think we all know about turning things off when you're not using them, turning off the lights when you leave a room, turning off the TV if you're not watching it, unless you have an exceptionally needy cat like I have, where if I'm in my office, something has to be on the living room TV for her, otherwise she sits at my office door and scream cries at me. So maybe I'll leave the TV on for her in that situation. But if she wasn't that needy, I would not have the TV on if I wasn't in the room watching it. I don't leave lights on when I leave the room. I don't even leave lights on when I'm in the room half the time. Reducing your consumption by turning things off or unplugging them is actually a lot more sustainable than you would think. You can also save water. Have shorter showers. Turn off the water when you're brushing your teeth. There's so many ways to save water and be more sustainable. And again, it costs you $0. Go digital. I know that technically it uses up more electricity, so it's a question of, is it more sustainable? But I get all my bills paperless. I get my receipts paperless. I try to do as much as I can paperless. And then obviously, save things. Save old glass jars that you use up. Save things that normally you would just throw out, but can be repurposed. I'm not saying hoard it. I'm not saying keep it forever. But I save newspaper and I use it to clean the windows and the mirror in my apartment. Newspaper cleans glass really, really well and leaves it totally streak-free. So simply before you throw something away or even put it in recycling, just think, is there anything else I could do with this? If it's something that's still usable but you no longer have any use for it, there's also Buy Nothing groups on Facebook. I like to post things on the local Buy Nothing group because it keeps it out of a landfill. And I've gotten some really good things from the Buy Nothing groups, so I like to, help out and put stuff back out there. Step 3. Once you've developed some of these habits, that's when you go into the swaps. The swaps are easy and either low cost or free. First one I think is very simple, and for me it's free. For some people you might pay for it. Keep a reusable shopping bag either in your car or in your purse or both at all times. In my purse, I have a reusable Target shopping bag that is folded up and just tucked into my purse. Some of the Targets in the area have those just as their shopping bags. You get them for free at Target. It's what they use for shopping bags. We have Aldi and Market Basket bags in the car for when we go to the grocery store. Those bags we did have to pay for, but to me it's worth it. You pay 99 cents for one of those reusable bags and you keep it forever. And again, the Target bags in my purse were free. So either low cost or free, depending on where you live and what the stores are like around you. But using a reusable shopping bag cuts out so much waste, not just from the plastic bags, but even the paper bags cause waste down the road. Oh, paper bags don't cause waste, you can recycle them. Recycling can be ruined by putting one wrong thing into the recycling. Use a refillable water bottle or use a Stanley. It's not a water bottle, but it counts. A Stanley, an Awala, a Hydro Flask, anything reusable. It doesn't have to be metal. I have a YouTube branded Nalgene one that I got from the Creator Collective event. It's just significantly more sustainable to use a reusable water bottle and filtered water than to be using bottled water. Rags make all the difference, especially in the kitchen. You can probably see behind me, I do still have paper towels. I have not cut paper towels out of my life completely. I had a friend over the other day and I was pouring water and a little bit of it spilled because my Brita was filled a little too high, so it spilled a little bit. Normal. She says, let me get that, and reaches for the paper towels, and I stop her immediately. I'm like, no, we're not touching that. Grab the rag, wipe up the water, boom, that's all it takes. She asked me, oh, why do you have paper towels and if you don't use them? And I told her I keep them around simply for food. If I have guests over and we're eating, I'm gonna offer them a paper towel because no, I don't have fancy napkins. I will give them paper towels for that. If we get takeout, I will offer people paper towels with takeout. But if I'm cleaning up a mess, it's gonna be a rag, unless it's a bathroom mess. Bathroom messes, I don't like using reusable rags. Bathroom messes, I like everything to be disposable. That's just me and my weird neurospicy quirks though. And I'm not saying that you have to go out and buy new rags. Do you have old t-shirts that are falling apart? Pair of scissors, boom, you have rags now. It's so simple to make rags. You really don't need to go out and buy new rags. This one's a hot take and I actually haven't done it, but it's very simple. Switching to bar soap instead of body wash. I have real bad eczema. That's why I don't do it. I have used bar soap in the past that my skin was okay with, but I get so nervous about it because of my eczema that I'm just gonna stick to my body wash. But I have my fiance using bar soap. It's more sustainable, it's cheaper, so much less plastic, it lasts longer. I don't see, unless you have a skin condition, I don't see why you wouldn't choose bar soap over body wash. Obviously, swaps can include things like making coffee at home instead of going out and buying coffee, making your meals at home instead of ordering delivery. But I'm not going to tell you change everything about your life. It's just the easy little swaps. And on that note, we have step 4. Food choices. Food waste is a huge problem, especially when it comes to sustainability. Obviously, it's optimal if you can grow your own food. I have addressed in previous videos, I can't do that. That's not realistic for everybody. That's just how it is. What I like to do, I will take a notebook and I will write down several different meal options based on what we have in our cabinets and fridge. For example, right now we have a lot of canned coconut milk because I wanted to make curry, so we bought it in bulk at Costco. So I'll write down a few different recipes that involve coconut milk. I will then show my fiance the list, ask him what he thinks, because obviously it's cooking for both of us. We'll narrow it down, we'll meal plan, and then we'll buy just what we need. I'm not gonna lie, because of my neurospicy brain, we do sometimes buy some extra comfort foods for me just so that I have them if I have a shutdown during that day. For example, we almost always have vegan buffalo chicken in the freezer for me because if my brain shuts down or my chronic illness is acting up, it's easy to pop in the microwave. But for the most part, we only buy exactly what we need for the meals on the meal plan. Buy what you know you're going to need and plan it out, because food waste is far too common. Also, you can freeze your leftovers. It might sound wild, but it was my friend's birthday the other day and I made her a cake. And she said to me, she's like, I don't know how I as one person am going to eat this entire cake because I couldn't have it. I can't have gluten, I'm vegan, and her cake was neither vegan nor gluten-free. So she told me she's going to freeze it. She's going to freeze her birthday cake so that she can pull it out of the freezer whenever she wants to. I think that's a brilliant idea. Also, I'd be amiss not to throw out, there's still always the option of trying to have one meal a week that does not involve meat. I would say animal at all, but I'm just gonna say meat, one step at a time. For example, cheese pizza, pasta with butter, pasta with marinara sauce, but not meatballs. It's easy to have at least one meal a week without meat. And the meat industry is not great for our planet. It's not super sustainable. I'm not gonna say go vegan like I am. I would never push that on anyone else, but at least one meal a week without meat, maybe even one meal a week without any animal product, but at least one meal a week without meat is a lot more sustainable. It adds up over time, I promise. And step 5, the long-term steps for beginners. Once you feel like you have the first 4 steps down, that's when we go into this. These are not necessarily long-term goals per se, but things that do pay off in the long term. Things that upfront might feel wasteful, but end up being more sustainable, or things that seem like you're gonna put in so much effort, but it ends up being worth it. Things like buying less, but buying better quality. For example, I just bought a really nice pair of designer jeans. I got them at Nordstrom Rack for like 50 bucks, but they were $300 jeans. Those are gonna last me a whole lot longer than any jeans I'd buy at Target or Walmart. I used to have purses that would break within a month. Now I invest in more expensive bags that, yes, they're designer bags, but they last. They last so much longer. It's way more sustainable if you have the means. We're all gonna come back to the boots theory. It all has to do with the boots theory. If you don't know the boots theory, I've covered it in previous videos, but it all comes back to the boots theory, where if you can afford the investment in the more expensive piece, you're spending less money in the long run and creating less waste. Again, cheap boots, you need to replace every year. Expensive boots will last you 10 years easily. On that same note, if you're ready for the long-term switches, but you can't afford a more expensive investment, or even if you can, thrifting, secondhand, Facebook Marketplace, buy nothing groups. That's how I get 99% of things that I own nowadays. That's how I furnished the vast majority of my apartment, was all buy nothing groups or Facebook Marketplace or thrift shops. I've lost a significant amount of weight, so how do I have clothes in my closet that fit me? Thrift shops. Just the other day, my fiance's mom and I went out to thrift shops together, and I got a giant bag full of designer clothes. I think I spent $100 total. And that bag, everything in that, if you totaled up the original prices of them, would have easily been at least $800. Buying things secondhand is so much more sustainable. I do feel weird about getting things that are upholstered secondhand though, so like I wouldn't get a secondhand couch unless I knew the person it came from. I feel weird about getting rugs secondhand, so like keep that in mind. I have this weird fear of bed bugs, so if you're like me, keep that in mind. But for the most part, everything else, secondhand. Try composting. I said for a long time that composting would be great and I wish I could. And then at Target, I saw a countertop composter that was actually affordable. Came about this close to getting it. I just don't have the counter space, but I would otherwise. My friend's mom actually was telling me about composting with worms and was telling me all this information on composting with worms and said that if y'all were ever interested in that, she'd be more than willing to participate in a video explaining it to all of you guys, because she used to literally go to schools and give them lessons on worm composting. And I guess it doesn't even smell. I've been very intrigued by it and I have thought about it, but I don't think my landlord would like that very much. But if you have a yard, you could set up a composter. If you have an apartment, you could set up a countertop composter like the one I was looking at that I still kind of really want. I just know I don't have the space for it. But that is one thing that if you're able to do, I do highly recommend. And I mean, that's really it, y'all. The bare minimum sustainability plan. This isn't everything I do to be sustainable. I have a lot more weird sustainable quirks and habits. I do a lot of things I don't even realize necessarily are sustainable, but it's just become such a part of my day-to-day that, again, I don't think about it. And I guess that that's the point of a bare minimum plan. You get these habits and all of this so ingrained in you that all of a sudden you start doing other sustainable things without really thinking about the fact that you're doing sustainable things. You start slow with sustainability. And once the first step is easy, then you move on to the next one. And once that's second nature, you move on to the next one. I'll say it a million times if I have to. Sustainability isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Anything is better than nothing. Every little change adds up. Sustainability isn't an overnight thing and it's not an all or nothing thing. As long as you're putting in effort, that's what matters. Comment down below, have you started your sustainability journey? Are you going to start your sustainability journey? What was it that first made you want to be sustainable? I love hearing what everyone's like big moment was for wanting to be sustainable. Mine was definitely just growing up in New England, seeing how things have changed from having, you know, fields and 4 seasons and everything. We don't have the same New England falls that we used to have. And that's because the planet's changing. So let's be more sustainable and try to save it before it's too late. If you enjoy this video, if this plan is useful to you in any way, shape, or form, please make sure to subscribe. I post new videos every Wednesday and Sunday, and then alternating Mondays and Fridays. Sundays are always sustainability Sundays, so you'll get your sustainability videos every Sunday. Also, share this video with a friend that's interested in starting a sustainability journey, because the more the merrier. When you do subscribe, make sure that you hit the bell. Otherwise, YouTube will never tell you when I post new videos. It's a little bit broken like that. I love you all, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.
I don't know, but I've been told the world outside is oh so cold.